Hello. Back in the Netherlands.
Back in the cold.
The dark.
Welcome to the Love Change podcast.
Yeah.
Are you having a good time loving the change these days?
Absolutely. I prefer the other change, but
The other way around, that
Yeah.
one's nicer, eh?
yeah,
That's understandable.
kinda yes.
Well, people can relate, I guess, who
Mhm.
likes exchanging the sun for the rain, the warm for the cold,
Escaping the Dutch winter.
the spring for fall and winter.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in, the Love Change podcast. We talk about the nitty gritty, the process of becoming, not when you're already there and shining and amazing, but basically in the trenches, in the mud, when
The
you're
mess
when
on the way.
you're not having good hair days, and except for Kay, of course, always on a good hair day.
Yeah, you too.
Today we're going to be talking about being unprepared, and Kay prepared.
To be unprepared.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, this topic was inspired by the presentations we were giving in Colombia.
Yes.
I was doing a gig for Google, which was pretty cool, but because I was just presenting on my laptop, I didn't have access to my presenter notes.
hmm
And I had to do, well, I was prepared, but I wasn't prepared to do my presentation without notes.
Notes, yeah.
And you had a similar experience with presentations?
Yeah, well, I would usually never prepare a presentation the day before. That's what I was doing. And then my whole Microsoft Office blew up and didn't allow me to open any of my presentations that I would take as a base. So, yeah, it was quite an experience.
So what did you do?
Well, I kind of like, I talked to the person that the presentation was with or for, and
You can name people. It was
I
Maria
can name
from Here to
people.
Work.
Yeah.
The person.
No, it's like yeah, and then she had some really amazing ideas how to change it, and I got really inspired to just make something out of it, and it worked out really well.
And this isn't the way you would usually do it.
Not
Eh?
at all.
What would you usually do?
Prepare at least probably 2 weeks in advance. Practice at least 3 times. I practice just once in the morning to just like have a rough reference for time
Hmm.
to know if it's gonna fit or not. But other than that, yeah.
How did it feel?
Honestly, I think it was one of my best presentations.
Okay, and why
At
is
least that's
that?
how I felt about it.
You
It
had a
was
lot
just
of.
really light.
You almost had like 100 viewers from all
It was
over the world.
plenty, yeah. I felt it was really light. It was playful. It was not yeah, it was not like something that you had learned ahead and just like, you know, feels a bit static. It was fluid.
Hmm. Would you, from now on, do it like this, or would you prefer
I
to do
think I would
the?
definitely try. I'm kind of like, I think what it taught me really to see that, like, if you do it 2 weeks ahead, you might include more ideas because then along the way I get more ideas.
Yeah, you're just spending more time on
Exactly.
this.
Like you had space along the way and you're like, I could do that first and then that. But I think it's just small changes. The whole idea really came because of the talk with Maria. I was like, actually, this is a good base. Just do it practical as I would do it. And I think that's really nice. So, yeah.
And what were the disadvantages of doing it unprepared or less prepared?
It was an experiment, I would say. That's how I felt about it. It was really like, yeah, I don't know how it's going to be like. But at the same time, I just had a good feeling about it. It was really in a good flow. I think if you do it last minute, you don't have much time to also think about it and be like, maybe. No, you just do it, you're ready, and then you have the presentation and you're done. You know, you don't overthink it, which I think is good in my case.
In your case,
In my case, probably in many cases, I don't know. I think I'm very uber German when it comes to that. So,
you think it's a German thing?
yeah, absolutely. Come prepared. Absolutely.
I kind of disagree, though.
You think so?
I think it's something that is very corporate. I think it's if you if I look at all my friends who have corporate jobs,
Yeah.
they really are terrified of the idea of showing up in a situation and not having their name dropping or their numbers or their stuff ready.
I think it depends on your manager. Like my manager back then, not here in the Netherlands, but in Germany, if you wouldn't know your numbers, you just would be get eaten alive
Hmm.
in front of 20 people, which was not pleasant. So yeah, it depends.
I think plenty of people have that because it's like a basic check of, are you
Hmm.
trying hard?
Yeah, also basic check of like, do you really belong in that place where you are, position,
Hmm.
level, whatever. Just like you gotta show your expertise constantly to be like, yeah, I know my
Hmm.
numbers, I know whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's corporate, but I think it's also very German. The combination for me kind of like made it even worse.
I think the difference between Germans and Dutch is that the Germans maybe also have it in their personal life.
Hmm.
Like if I think of German people going camping, they're super serious. It's a different level of preparation. Like everything is correct and well thought out of. There's very little room for improvisation.
Even before we left to Colombia, like, 4 days before, you asked me if we should rent out our place. And I was like, you're asking me this now? Like, way too late, in my opinion.
Hmm.
I would have, like, that would probably be my first thought before you book the flight.
Okay.
So, yeah, it might be German. But
Some people need more time for
like
things.
my mom always stresses out when I would tell her in the past that I'm flying to New York in 2 days, and then she'd be like, "Yeah, how do you manage? Just came back from Spain 2 days ago. How do you manage to pack your stuff and wash your stuff?" And I'm like,
You have more
"For two
stuff.
days, I have
Yeah.
more stuff. It's like doesn't matter." And she would also like look up all the weather report and whatever. Like I just go figure
Hmm.
out on the way. I think I'm pretty, yeah, probably more relaxed when it comes to traveling than having
Okay.
presentations. But I have been eaten alive a couple of times in my corporate life, so I think that also that also burns you.
Hmm.
You gotta have all the answers. Like at
And
Hugo
do you
Boss,
have a good feeling about being unprepared?
I kind of start to develop a liking for it, which I think is really nice because it gives me a playfulness.
Hmm.
And I don't know, the people that I have seen presenting, and if someone didn't have the answers and would be like, you know what, I don't have the answer, but I'm going to come back to you. I found that always very humane. It's nothing bad, in my opinion, you
What
know?
is one thing in life that you're completely unprepared for right now? And maybe for you, if you're watching or listening,
It's a good
if we're talking
question.
about being unprepared, uh, like it's usually unexpected stuff, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's also expected things that we're still unprepared for.
I think
What's on the
my
top of your
favorite
head?
topic is kids, but I don't think I ever be prepared for that.
Kay's favorite topic is kids, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
lately it's really a favorite topic because everyone is sitting in my neck.
Everybody's breathing,
Yeah.
all the corona babies.
They're all hopefully
And
breathing, yeah.
you say you will never be prepared for that also.
Yeah.
So what is the meaning of being unprepared then?
Just going with the flow. I think that's really a good thing.
Hmm.
How about you? It's a good question. I would like to give that back.
But you can't. That's not how it works. No, I think things I am unprepared for. Think death. Death is something we know exists and it comes and it always comes too soon and unexpected.
Can you ever be prepared for that?
Um, yeah, we have some relatives who are sick, so you kind of do the last things you want to do with them, so to
Yeah.
say. Yeah, sucks to say it, but when you are aware of somebody's passing, uh, maybe you already start the morning. But I think another thing that I am not prepared for is my taxes.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Now, all jokes aside, I think for me the meaning of being unprepared is I think it's a very important how you define being prepared.
Mm,
I think for me, if I am feeling okay and I'm rested and I can handle
on
everything.
top of things.
Yeah, doesn't matter what comes my way. But if I am sick or in a bad place emotionally, then the little change or bump in the road shakes
Shakes
me.
you up, yeah.
So in that sense, uh, I think being prepared for me has more to do with whether I am creating the conditions that allow me to flow.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
while I remember in my study days, I would always start too late and do too little. And
You're not alone with that.
yeah, but I would never doubt whether I would make it or not because
Okay.
at some point you also know your own pace of learning and productivity. And I think things that I am unprepared for mostly have to do with other people, not my own thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I just like after my accident, I was in the rehab clinic and basically first I was in an electric wheelchair and then I was in a regular wheelchair. I could basically hardly move in an inside environment. I was just like struggling going down the hallway and back
Mm-hmm.
in a wheelchair. And I dropped my phone and couldn't reach it. It was between my two ankles, but I just couldn't
Mm-hmm.
grab it. And I was fighting to grab it for like 20 minutes or so, sweating and dropping blood pressure and everything. And in the end, I just started laughing and just having this conversation with myself that everything I need to make it through this, I have. And everything I have to learn to get through this is what is set out for me that is important. So I feel like when people say I'm not prepared for something, it's because there's a steep learning curve.
Mm.
So for you, if you would reflect on what you experienced in Colombia with the Here to Work presentation, what was it that you were learning in that short amount of time?
During the presentation.
Well, preparing for the presentation or letting go of your old presentation and making a new one.
Yeah, to just really think out of the box and do it in a different way.
Mm.
Because I was anyway like screw the theory in some sense. Like you gotta
Mhm.
scratch the surface of theory, but the presentation is half an hour. So you cannot dive deep and you also don't want to bore people with the theory. That's not what it is. People from all over the world thinking about moving to the Netherlands that
Mm.
want practical approach on what is gonna be it like, you know? So
Culturally.
really thinking out of the listener of your perspective and be like, what do they want to hear? And then just make it like that. So it was really way more like I myself moved to the Netherlands 4 years ago.
Mm.
What did I experience? And I started working in a big
Were you
corporate.
were you prepared to move? Were you
I had
unprepared?
my cultural background in some sense. So in some sense I was prepared when it comes to that perspective. Why are you
What
shaking
does it
your head?
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
to understand what kind of cultural profile the Netherlands have gives you an indication.
such a theoretical way of thinking about moving.
It sounds like that, but it helps.
But the fact that you're leaving your friends and your family behind, were you prepared for that?
No, I don't think you're ever prepared for that. You just move. That's at least what I always did.
You don't have a goodbye party or something.
I didn't have time for a goodbye party, no. I worked the last day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be having a month-long goodbye parties if I'm gonna be going somewhere. Jesus.
Yeah, but no, I don't know. It was really a light approach of like, I don't want to bore people with theory and I want to give them the most practical approach to
But
understand what
what
it would feel like.
besides what you did, what did you learn for yourself?
That it was a whole different approach and it was a good approach to do that presentation this way.
Oh.
It was just different,
Yeah,
like
I cannot imagine
coming from a whole different corner.
preparing a presentation for 2 weeks.
Not like 2 weeks every day, but like start, do the framework, think about, okay, half an hour, how many slides do I want to have, build the theory, and then think about how you want to weave it with practical approach, etc., etc. I'm not saying that I would not rush it till the end because that's like the regular curve of people starting early and then till the end it always gets stressy. But I don't know. If I would sleep better, I would say. But this time, for the first time, it didn't bother me at all to also be like, okay, we're in Colombia, we're exploring Colombia. It's fine to sit down the last day before and just do it because actually I know the topic anyway. There was also a certain confidence in me to just like be sure that I know what I'm talking about.
And if you think about your superfood pharmacy,
Yeah.
what aspects of that do you feel unprepared, or do you postpone because you don't feel prepared?
You would say recording videos? That's what you would
Doesn't
probably
matter what I
say.
would say.
I don't know. I don't know if there is something I would really postpone because I feel unprepared. I actually feel pretty ready and just want to see more results. That's where I'm at. Talk
Okay.
to more people because also giving all the consultations last weeks taught me so much in reverse. Like explaining to people why things are as they are and analyzing their situation, their health condition, and giving them advice also teaches me a lot. If you see someone really responding well to products and certain change.
But you gotta answer the question. What is something that you don't feel prepared for? Or feel less prepared or less comfortable?
I mean, I think for me, standing in front of a crowd and explaining something has never been easy, but at the same time, people would tell me that I come across super authentic and I really look like I'm enjoying it. And actually, I do. So it's like the step to get in front of people and explain something scares the shit out of me. But when I get there, I actually really am in my element. It's a pretty interesting thing.
And what
So,
about it scares the shit out of you?
being in the spotlight.
Why?
I don't know. It's just not my favorite place to be.
Okay. It's a question or is it an answer?
No, it's an answer.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
It's not comfortable in first place.
I don't know. Why not?
That's how I feel about it.
Okay. And do you feel like preparation has something to do with that comfort zone or no?
No.
What has something to do with that?
To feel comfortable on a stage.
Yeah, or in front of a group.
The more you do it, the easier it gets.
Okay, so it's a
Yeah.
practice thing that
Yeah.
becomes normal. Like you do it every week, then it's like, oh, I'm on stage.
Yeah, then it's like nothing different. And like the podcast for the beginning was also for me like, oh my gosh, it's going to be recorded. I feel super uncomfortable with it. And now we just sit and talk.
But it's strange because if I listen to interviews of artists and performers who stand in front of big crowds, even if they do it often, they still feel the tension. So you also need that energy to perform.
I think
If
it's
it
a different tension,
normalizes, Why?
It just gets a different. It's more like you feel the tension because you know it matters to you, but you don't have the stage fright portion in it. Like, oh my gosh, if I forget my line, if I don't know,
Okay.
if I stumble, fall,
Mm.
and throw stuff around, I don't know. It's like the classic. Or like start drinking and then choke.
It's
Like
about
that
failing
stuff.
on the spot.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And
Okay.
forgetting what you have to say.
Okay.
That kind of stuff, I guess.
I see that we're losing video on the camera
Oi.
over here. Don't understand why. Give me a moment.
Yeah. Need to press something? Yes. Back in the video game.
I don't know how long we lost our video. Maybe it's not charging or something. It just turned off.
I think so, yeah, but I didn't hear it. It would do noise now.
Well, let's continue. We weren't
Okay.
prepared for technical failures.
As always, you're not prepared
Yeah,
for
I
it.
think if I would answer the question of what do I feel unprepared for with the Amor energy management stuff, I think I'm not prepared for any of it.
And how does it make you feel?
I think that's the whole tension between really wanting something and being scared of it. At the same time, like I really want to be of value to people. I want my legacy to be impact, and I want to share all the lessons I've learned from really re-experiencing what it takes to manage yourself as a human, energetically, and really as a coach to be of service. I really care about that. Yet, if I look at my peers, everybody's following a certain framework that I find really hard to fit myself in. So I have to create my own guidelines. And I am a novice, a beginner. How do you say it? Undereducated, overexcited. I do not feel like I am prepared in the sense of I have done it before or I have practiced it enough. I feel like all of it is a continuous development, and every step of the way requires me to be on the edge of my seat and on the peak of my ability. So I feel like it's at the same time a good thing to feel unprepared.
It keeps you alerted.
Yeah.
It really keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, that's why I also ask, like, what part of it do you feel unprepared for? And because I can imagine it's your first business, it's you're dealing with I don't know, Dutch legislation.
That's what I have you for.
Yeah, but
To
it's
help me.
stuff that you do not per se mention, and
I don't know, I really have a good feeling about it. It's just like, of course, it takes time, but like the product and concept itself is something that I'm really standing behind. That's why I don't have this of like, yeah, what am I so afraid of? I don't know.
we have people sending us hellos and greetings.
Yes.
And hi back.
Hello.
Please answer us. What is something you are not prepared for? I think another thing I was unprepared for was you moving in with me, or really shifting into a super dense, or how do we say it, interweaved lives with another person. I was pretty okay by myself. I'm also okay with you.
Thanks.
So, but it's also something that I don't think I was prepared for, and that's why I hope you also can share some things. See, there it goes again.
Yeah.
I think the cable of
Just
the power
maybe
is just
Yeah. Should I check that?
crappy.
For a second. Maybe
Yeah,
it's not
can you
plugged in
see?
well. Yeah.
I think also the cable broke when we were on the trip.
Yeah, could be.
Maybe just connect the white cable from your phone.
Nope. That one.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, come sit.
Cool. Yeah, I feel there are certain things in life in general that we just cannot be prepared for. But that's also what life is about, I guess.
But this topic is about being unprepared and sharing those things.
Yeah, we are
So,
not prepared. That's what I said.
you say it's just the baseline.
Yeah. I think even like whatever it is, I think if you prepare for some changes in life and you're like, yeah, I'm ready, it's like, it's nonsense because it's going to happen differently anyway. I don't know,
Mm.
like reading all those business books of like your first 100 days in a new job and what you should consider. So it's all good. It's great. Good advice.
You've read all of them.
Yeah, of
You
course
have
I did.
all of them.
But
So I feel like you still have plenty more to share about uh, being uncomfortable with being unprepared.
I don't know. I think it just you can read and be as much prepared, but then you kind of like have to extract what you learn and just make something out of it every day. You know, if you come across people that you just don't get along with and
Mm.
you have to work with them, you cannot be like, yeah, but the book was saying I should really make good connections. Because if you like have nothing to say, then you just need to like just get along with it and be like, okay, you know what? You think I'm an asshole. I think you're an asshole. Exaggerating, but it's just like we gotta get along, okay? We gotta get from A to B. Let's figure out how.
Mm.
You got your budget to spend. I'm having a collection. Let's just find the practical way of working together. You just like, I don't know, you can't be as much prepared. Like I would stress, I think it's more the mindset for me about being unprepared. I would really stress about not being prepared
That's what we're trying to get at. Why would you stress
because I would feel uncomfortable
about?
not being prepared, not having all the answers.
No.
But all the years taught me that you just can't have all the answers, and that's also okay.
Mm.
That's why when I was having my intercultural presentation back in Germany a couple months ago, I also like was one question. I was like, it was about India and something. I was like, I really don't know. Have to look it up, but I come back to you. And I didn't even feel weird about it. It was just like, yeah, how can I know?
I think I feel I look at the topic a bit differently. As I hear you a lot of times referring to a question and an answer
Mm-hmm.
situation,
Mm-hmm.
or a certain step by step that will get you from A to B, something.
Not necessarily. What makes you say that?
Well, the book, and then
I think the books is more the approaches that are there, that are out there, and you can take to feel
uh,
prepared. But I tried it several times, didn't, in
uh,
my opinion, deliver the results. It was not a guideline to like get from A to B.
like for instance, one situation I can imagine a lot of people. We talked about it this afternoon
Mm-hmm.
with Sophie about students
Yeah.
who have to finish their last year of school digitally
Mm.
and start their first year of their new education digitally, and almost everybody involved in that situation is not prepared for that situation.
Yeah.
But what is it actually that we are not prepared for? uh, I don't think it's about the teachers teaching on Zoom or students getting distracted. I think we as society are not ready for that high level of how do you say it, isolation.
Mm-hmm.
I think this year everybody experienced how not ready you are for giving up a bunch of your leisure activities and free times, or that people can say, oh, I feel really incarcerated or locked
Mm-hmm.
up while the real definition of jail is losing your freedom, and we're a bunch of steps away from that.
It's also, I think, it's also a disruption of expectations. If you finish school and you're about to study, oh wow,
Mm.
I'm gonna have freedom because I'm gonna move away,
Mm.
most probably to a place where I'm gonna study. I'm gonna meet new friends. I'm gonna like make a huge
Party.
step ahead in my growth, my
Mm.
personal and
True.
school growth, whatever you call it. And that just didn't happen because like the whole what it would be like just didn't happen.
Mm.
And of course it goes hand in hand with isolation, but I think it's really, for me, it's the disruption of what you expect. Because that's what irks the most. If like you think this is gonna be like that, and then life takes you on a whole different road, you're like, like you basically measure it all the time against what you wanted it to be like, or what you expected
So
it to be
giving
like.
up on your expectations. Yeah.
I think that's what I did with my presentation. I was like, don't have material, just drop the expectations I would have on how to do it, just do it differently. And it worked, and I was not measuring it all the time against something that I initially had in mind.
So that allowed you to create a new thing
Yeah.
because you basically started with a white piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in retrospect, one of the hardest things that I was not prepared to do, because that's also a thing. Being unprepared uh, puts it in the corner of you can prepare for it, but you haven't. But being not prepared is just not being willing to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was not prepared to give up my dreams, like traveling on the motorcycle. So it took me a couple of years to
Mm-hmm.
do that because I just was unprepared that life would have that in store for me, you know?
Yeah. But it's something that you could never get prepared for, no?
Um,
It's really the.
I think it definitely dented me in the sense that I've been realizing recently that it really put a lot of fear in me wishing for things or having big dreams that I kind of that's what I was having the coaching conversation about as well today is like I wish for a pink elephant. No, you're not gonna get a pink elephant because they don't exist, so you better not wish for it. Like
Mhm.
I'm not prepared to be disappointed. I'm unprepared to be disappointed, or I've had a bad experience with being disappointed. I think another thing that people are unprepared for or not prepared for is having their heart broken, getting cheated on, a bunch of sad stuff that you like can deal with differently. You can either stay open or you can close off because you are like not willing to go through that dirt.
Yeah, but then if you're not like, I think the heartbreak is a good example. If you're not willing to open up fully, then you're also not gonna experience the whole range of emotions.
Hmm.
If you're not willing to really let yourself fall in a relationship, if well, have the possibility of getting your heart broken, you're also not gonna really get loved. You're not gonna open up as soon as you're gonna feel like something is maybe a bit
I
off.
remember people like when they get to know somebody, I'm not prepared to fall in love. It's a thing people say.
Exactly, and you just close off. Yeah, like yeah, you're the right person. You're amazing, great, but I'm just not at
Not
the
right
time
now.
of my life where I'm open. And I'm willing to let you really walk into my heart, and then it's like
Have you had that
close the
experience?
gate. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but also the other way. I
What does
think,
that
in
mean?
my opinion, guys are also even more like, hey, I'm right
Well,
now. I'm
we're talking
building.
about you right now, so we're gonna talk a little bit about your experience
No,
too.
but also, I mean, how I experience it on the other way.
Of course, it's a two-way street.
Yeah. What I was about to say is that I think men are more in the game of like this is the years where I'm working on my career. This is the years of working on that. This is the years where I can imagine to
You
settle with
haven't
someone and
tried
have
dating
kids.
women. You don't know how many women share that story. You just
Huh?
tried dating guys.
I'm talking about guys.
Yeah, but like you say, guys are more inclined to do that
Ah,
because you've only.
yeah, but I'm a woman. I see the other perspective, and I know many women how they. Come on, I need to date guys to understand that.
No, I think I've lived. I think some experiences like heartbreak can put you through a phase of being unprepared to experience it again. You're like,
Mm.
oh, last time really roughed me up. I'm not prepared for that right now.
Yeah, I had that of like a really major heartbreak, but then I was like, if I'm not willing to get to this point again, then I'm also not going to open up truly, you
Hmm.
know? Then I don't
It's
know when
easier
I
said
met.
than done, though. Like the first time you thought of it, then you changed your thing.
I don't know if I like meeting you at some point. I was also like, I really like you, and allowing you to be that close and me to be that open and us to move together super soon. It's like it can go super wrong. But if you
Hmm.
allow yourself to just like see the positive side and not think about the risk all the time, then it also just like there will always be the risk.
Hmm.
I can walk out the door tomorrow and be just hit by a car and be dead. It's the same. It's just
Okay,
like no, it's
escalated
just like
quickly.
for things you're not prepared in life, and that's fine.
Hmm.
But if you don't allow, if I wouldn't allow myself to like let you that close, then we wouldn't be
Yeah, but
sitting
you
here.
also shared with me that it took you a journey of 2, 3 years of being single to
Yeah,
get through that point.
yeah,
So I feel like there's a side note to realizing that if you do not open yourself, then you're also excluding the option of.
yeah. But I got my heart broken for the first time when I was, I think, 17, and then for like 12 years, not at all.
See, that's what
I
I
would,
mean. Like, yeah.
yeah, of course. But also those years were good relationships, but not really what
This
I
is
would
super
say
weird. I think it's still the most
depth.
weirdest thing you've
If
ever shared.
always come back to that point, yeah. I think many people live next to each other in a relationship, honestly.
I don't know how I feel to.
Yeah, I think you're just too curious and
I cannot be
too
in this.
connected to understand this.
No, but I cannot imagine being in somebody else's bubble that you don't really care about.
You do care on a certain level
To,
until a certain depth,
yeah,
and that's it.
no, no, I cannot. I can imagine having sexual partners like that,
That's different, yeah.
but to live with somebody and introduce them to your friends and family.
But if you work and travel so much, then you don't really have a lot of contact points.
So you think that that facilitates a lot of that type of relationship?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was really the awakening when I went on a long weekend trip with my ex.
Mm,
And then it was like literally 3 full days that we spent together. And on day one, I was already like, I'm out of topics to talk about.
mm,
And that's where I really realized how much we grew apart the last half year or even longer. I was even like, I don't know when to track back when we started to grow apart.
mm.
Sorry. Hachi. So it's not. So it's like, you can just like live next to each other without realizing it because you're just too busy with other things.
And what were you not prepared or unprepared for during those days?
Those 3 days
No, the relationship.
in the whole relationship, that
Yeah.
was, yeah, I think I was not able to really open up and let someone be close. And because I had so little time, it was more convenient to not open up. Because the little time we had, I was thinking about it. I was working at least 5 days a week. Then Saturday it would be just like running errands and doing stuff. On Sunday I
Mm.
would usually sit at least 6 hours in front of my computer again. there was not much time. And vacation, wow,
Mm.
not that much. But
If you would be able to give advice as we're trying to round up, what would you say to people who have that old frame of mind that you used to have about being unprepared?
I think you should really be brave enough to just try to approach things a different way and just try how it feels and what the outcome is being unprepared.
Mm.
Maybe not in the most important budget meeting if you work in corporates. Maybe that's not the best place to start.
No.
But with smaller things, really just like listen into yourself how it feels if you're
Mm.
unprepared. Like if you really just look beyond the fear of like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna,
Mm.
I'm gonna be the imposter. Um, you might discover some different personality almost that comes across.
Okay.
And yeah, I really found a beautiful playfulness in it.
Mm.
Be like not thinking about, oh, someone is going to discover that I'm not prepared, but think like it's a different approach to present things. It's a different approach to show things, and that's
Mm.
nice. That really showed me a different side of me.
Oh,
That's
thanks.
my advice.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. It's really a good thing.
To be unprepared for the podcast.
Yeah, the Uber German person saying it's a good thing to be unprepared.
Yeah, I think life is gonna throw us many more curveballs. So, in that sense, I think what I talk about with Fran a lot about this brave space that we're creating.
Mm-hmm.
I think this whole concept of being prepared is almost opposite of bravery, because then you
Yeah.
don't need so much bravery. Of course, it's nonsense to say, because if bravery also takes practice, but it has to do with dealing with feeling unprepared. So I don't know. Somebody insults you in public.
Mm.
What you gonna do?
I don't know.
Exactly. You're not prepared. And in that moment, being able to take a breath,
Yeah.
realize what's going on, remember who you are, that you do not take shit from people, but you also don't act like a fool. So you're not going to stab them to death, but you're going to be like, hey, come here. This is not how we communicate. What's up with you? You need to talk about something.
So it's a certain agility, no?
I think that definitely is the right word for it.
To really be like, hey, listen, that was not okay. You got to talk about that. You cannot.
Hmm. Yeah, or showing up somewhere where you feel like you have high expectations on you, and just be able to deflate that by saying, "Woo, had trouble sleeping last night because you people were gonna listen to me today, and I'm kind of afraid of y'all. So forgive me if I exceed your expectations because you're lowering them right now." I don't know, something silly
Yeah.
like that, but I think
I really believe there is no such thing as getting prepared for whatever comes, Maybe it's like a certain topic that you're going to present. Yeah, that's like narrowed down. That's not really life. That's just a little cut out of something where you can get prepared. Other than that, like even us planning to move, we can get prepared. As I said, we should really look into what we need to do in a year, 2 years, etc. Because some things are just not on the urgent list. They're important, but not urgent. So it's important to
no.
take care of that. But still, we just gotta roll with the punches when we move and see if that doesn't work. Then we need to find option B, C, D, E.
Mm.
So that's also something that you can plan out in your head, but then life just comes in between.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I think the
So-
way you summed it up, this agility
Yeah.
is at least as important as mm, all the preparations you make, is to remind yourself that you are agile.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's what you experienced in Colombia, is that you were able to shift into your agility instead of where's my master document and I'm gonna make sure all the things are aligned well, etc. No, all that stuff doesn't matter. It's about
The
conveying a
knowledge
message.
is here. The knowledge is
Yeah.
here. It was like taking the knowledge package and just wrapping it in a different format.
Mm.
That's the agility.
Yeah.
Like the baseline didn't change. I know what I know. I don't need the presentation necessarily.
Yeah.
It's just wrapping it in a different format.
True.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Make sure you subscribe and like and share the Love Change podcast live every Tuesday.
Yes, again, drop topics at us.
Please do.
Please.
And just a little announcement, I'll be also adding some interviews. And maybe soon we can also start the Burnout Chronicles, one of maybe start of next year. So more content coming your way.
Yeah.
And see you on the next.
Have a good night.
Love Change out.
Love change out.